Sir,
Yep, hi, here.
can you turn your camera on, sir?
Here's a thing out. Okay, there we go, there we go.
All right, sir, if you could raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth under penalty of law?
I do.
All right.
All right, and good afternoon, Mr. Connolly.
Good afternoon.
And would you please state your full name for the record?
Malcolm Connolly.
And Mr. Connolly, where are you testifying from at the moment?
From home, Essex, UK.
And where do you live?
I live in Essex, UK.
Mr. Connolly, what is your occupation?
At present, close protection operative. I've had a couple of professions. I'm a bricklayer to trade. I was in the corrections facility, Pentonville, HMS prison. But right now, yeah, I'm a protection operative.
Okay, and can you tell us a little bit, just generally, what that means?
It means looking after the personal well-being, physical well-being of any client you're detailed to.
And how long have you been in the personal security business?
25 years.
Over the course of those 25 years, have you had any other kinds of jobs?
Yeah, as I said, I was a corrections officer for Her Majesty's Prison.
Okay. Are you familiar with the plaintiff in this case, Johnny Depp?
I am, yes.
And how do you know Mr. Depp?
I know Mr. Depp maybe about 23 years ago, 24 years ago. I worked for a company called Music and Arts. The guy who owned that company was Jerry Judge. Jerry started working with Johnny way back in the early days, and I was detailed with looking after Johnny's ex, Vanessa Paradis, and Jack and Lily Rose, Johnny's kids. And my job was just to make sure they were safe when Johnny was at work. So that job, after about a year and a half, 2 years, Johnny asked me to go with him directly, and we'll find someone else to do the kids and that. And that's how I came across Johnny. That's how I personally met Johnny Depp.
Can you ballpark for us about what year that was?
Oh, 2006.
Okay. And can you generally just tell us a little bit about what you do for Mr. Depp as his security guard?
I will escort Johnny to everyday public places, make sure he's okay, make sure he's not in any danger. First of all, do the recce. You go along first. There's usually a two-man team. It's a two-man detail. You go along, do your recce, make sure all the ins and outs are sorted, no compromises, any risks involved, do a risk assessment. We do the job. I look after him. Basically, I look after Johnny whenever we're in public domain. Whenever we're going to be in a public domain, I will look after Johnny.
Okay, and how about the defendant in this case, Amber Heard? Are you familiar with Miss Heard?
I am familiar with Miss Heard. Yeah, I first met Miss Heard in probably 2000, and I don't recall the actual date. Probably about 2010, maybe around there. She came into the UK to do a promotional job for a movie called Drive Angry. My boss, Jerry Judge, asked me to take the detail. Went and met Amber, started the job. Amber was with her ex, Tasha, and I looked after Amber for a week. Pleasant week, it was fine, great.
Does anything stand?
After that week, I never seen Amber again until we did the Rum Diaries. the premiere after show we were in Diary.
Okay, so let's move to the Rum Diary then. When did you see Miss Heard? Well, how did you see Miss Heard in connection with the Rum Diary?
We done the Rum Diary premiere. We went to the after show party. You know, I'm busy working, doing my job, myself and Jerry Judge. Seen Amber across the floor. Amber seen me. Just basically come across the floor, said hello, how you doing? You know, the usual chit chat. We chit chatted for a minute or two. Johnny asked me how I actually knew Amber. Explained. That's the last I spoke to Amber that night. I was too busy with Johnny doing my job, you know.
Did you know at the time, and well, let's back up for a second. Where was that premiere?
Do you know what? I don't recall. I think it was in LA.
Okay.
I don't actually recall.
Okay. Did you know at the time of that premiere in probably LA, but possibly somewhere else, did you know at the time that Mr. Depp and Miss Heard were seeing each other romantically?
No, I didn't. I actually didn't. I mean, I surmised that there was a spark there, you know. It wasn't till maybe a few days later, a few nights later, we were at a dinner party somewhere, a promotional thing, and Amber and Johnny were basically, you know, sparking up. They were getting together. Then I sort of assumed that, you know, there was a romance happening there, budding there, you know.
Okay. Over the course of Mr. Depp and Miss Heard's relationship with each other, about how often would you say you saw them together?
Well, in the beginning, actually not a lot, you know, not a lot. Maybe once a week, twice a week at a push. But then it started, it started maturing into something, into a relationship. So more often as the time went on, you know.
And as time went on, did you have an opportunity to observe how Mr. Depp and Miss Heard interacted with each other?
At the beginning, you know, lovey-dovey, everything was great. The honeymoon period was on, and it was, it was good. I mean, it was great to see Johnny happy again. Amber was, you know, lovely, charming, as she usually is, you know, good as gold. And then things started to change. Amber started to change. Amber started getting a bit, I would say, a bit more feisty, demanding, you know. I could see that Amber wanted to wear the pants in this relationship. That was pretty obvious.
And what in particular made you think that you observed personally?
Just the way, you know, if something wasn't quite right, or Amber could get a bit frosty at the drop of a hat. So as time went on, you know, I could see them change. I could see Amber change. I could see Johnny getting quieter. We get into the car and nobody was speaking. And, you know, it just, things started changing. Amber started getting a bit more grumpy, shall we say.
How did she get along with you?
Absolutely fine. Amber was fine with me. Amber was never anything but professional, polite with me, you know. She was, Amber was fine with me.
Did you ever see or hear any arguments between Mr. Depp and Miss Heard?
When you say see, I heard. I mean, I could hear at times in certain accommodations we were staying at. I could hear Amber, screaming, you know. I could hear shouting and bawling, and I could hear it going on, But I mean, I wasn't there every single night. When we're working in the UK, there's nights maybe I'd get home because Jerry would be there. But I did hear. Yeah, definitely for a fact. I could hear sometimes the shouting and bawling, you know. It's mostly I could hear Amber screaming, you know.
And about how, I recognize this was years ago, but can you estimate for us how regularly that happened?
I can't say regularly. I can't say it was like every day, but you know, it got more regular. It got more often than not.
Did you ever witness any physical violence between the two of them?
No, never. I've never seen any physical violence. It's not a thing. It's not a thing people would do in front of security. It's not a thing that would happen in front of myself or Jerry Judge or Sean Bett or something. It just wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen. No, I never seen any physical security. I never seen any hands-on. No.
Okay, what do you mean you never saw any hands-on?
Well, I never seen any slapping or grabbing or punching or hitting. I never seen any of that physically. Well, I'll tell you what, there was an instance, maybe two incidents that come to my mind. One incident was on a private plane. I can't recall if it was a domestic flight or an international flight. I'm sitting, Johnny and Amber, or Johnny, whoever he's flying with, will sit up at the foretable. There's a foretable up aft, and myself and my colleagues will sit down the forward end of the plane. So I usually look up the fuselage that way, with my back to the nose. Amber had her back to me, Johnny's sitting across the table, and there's a bit of bickering going on. I can't hear because, you know, they talk about jet craft. I can't actually hear, and it's more animated than verbal. And I see a lighter, a plastic lighter, bounce off his chest. Boom, bounce off his chest. So right away I think, well, this is going to escalate. It's either going to go one way or the other. I don't think it came to much. I remember Johnny just sort of, you know, smirking and looking away as if to say, you know, well, what is that? It kind of attitude, you know. And Johnny tips his hat, puts his head against the window, and whoa, I'm out, you know. Another time, I was at the loft apartment. I was in the security room in the loft apartments with a security guard called. Do you know what? I can't recall if it was Sean Bett or a guy called Donovan. Anyway, I got the text. I was down there to pick him up to go to the West Hollywood accommodation, and I got the text.
Objection to the extent he's going to talk about what the text is. That's hearsay.
You can just tell us what you observed without without recounting the contents of the text.
Okay. I'm instructed to go and get Johnny, and because we're leaving.
Objection. He just said what he was instructed to do.
All right, I'll sustain the objection if you can.
What did you do after you received the text?
I go to the loft apartment. The door's ajar slightly, just a we call a crack in the door. Push the door open and I go in. Shouting, there's a bit of shouting going on. I can't hear. I'm in the wrong area of the apartment. But as I turn to the left into the more of the lounge area, there's a soda can. I don't know if it's a Coca-Cola or a Sprite or I don't know what it was. But it's launched from the mezzanine, and Johnny's had this huge TV, the biggest TV I've ever seen. In fact, but this, and it's on this mechanical arm, which is an actual piece of artwork that Johnny had got commissioned. And anyway, this big mechanical arm holds this TV. So this kind of pop, you're going to call it pop, smashes on that, but by force, let me add, because it made a bang, boom. And all I can hear is it spraying all over the place. Johnny has already got his jacket on and a bag over his shoulder. That's why he's called me in, because we're leaving. I just pick up the other bags, pick up 2 bags, put my hand through Johnny's arm and say, right, boss, we're leaving. We walk out the door. And we go. Halfway to the West Hollywood, Johnny's already calmed down, you know, he's like, oh, man, can you...
Objection to the extent he's talking about what Mr. Depp is saying.
All right, I'll sustain that objection. Continue.
If you have, I think we can move on.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Next question.
Just to clarify, Mr. Connolly, when the soda can was launched from the mezzanine, where was Mr. Depp in relation to where the soda can landed?
Probably 10 feet, maybe 10 feet back from that. 10 feet back from that.
Okay, and just to make sure we're on the same page, when you refer to the loft apartments, what are you referring to?
The downtown LA Eastern Building.
Okay. What was your? Did you form any understanding as to where, as to who had thrown the soda can?
Objection,
well,
speculation.
no.
Okay. Oh, hold on, sir. Was
Speculation, foundation.
I'm just asking him if he formed an understanding, and he can state the basis for
said he
that
didn't see it.
if he did.
if you want to lay a foundation.
Did you to your knowledge, was Miss Heard present in the apartment at the time?
Objection leading.
Yes.
I'll allow
I could
it.
hear her. I never seen her physically, but I could hear her voice. Yes.
And where did her? Could you tell where her voice was coming from?
Upstairs, just upstairs.
Okay.
She wasn't on the lower apartment with us, so I can only imagine she was upstairs.
Other than the cigarette lighter and the soda can, anything else similar to that you observed?
No, I can't say no.
Did you ever observe any physical injuries on Miss Heard?
Never, no.
How about on Mr. Depp?
Yeah, yes. It started off with maybe a scratch once in a while, a swelling, but it got more. It got more. Yeah, I'm not talking that he was marked every week or every 2 weeks, but yeah, he sustained marks there, definitely. He was getting marked.
And can you describe for us what you can remember?
Objection, Your Honor. Can we
Any present
can we
service.
approach
Okay,
for a minute?
all right. Hold on, Mr. Connolly, for a minute.
So, Mr. Connolly, you can continue responding. I think the question was just, can you generally describe for us what you remember about the marks you saw on Mr. Depp?
Yes, as I was saying, in the prison service, you're taught to pick up, log in your mind, mental logging in your mind, marks, bruises, bully patterns, stuff. What I noticed right away was most of these marks and most of these things through my training is happening in the left-hand side of his face, and it would be scratches on his neck, maybe a fat lip in the corner, maybe a bruising on the eye socket. Dull impacts, except for obviously the scratches, maybe on below his left ear. Sometimes it'd be two marks, 2 lines, 2 trams, 1. Yeah, yeah. And it was getting more regular. As I say, not every week, but it was definitely happening. Yeah.
Can we see Plaintiff's Exhibit 162, please? And Mr. Connolly, are you able to see the picture on? I assume you can see it on your screen.
Yeah, just can I see it, please? Yeah, hi. Yeah.
And do you?
That is, yeah, I know that picture. I took that picture.
You
that
took the
picture's on the. Yeah, I took the picture.
Can you just quickly tell us what this picture is?
This picture is Miss Heard and Johnny's honeymoon on the Orient Express on the East Line from Bangkok to Singapore. You travel through Malaysia, stopping at Kuala Lumpur and a few other places on the way down. And that is in the dining coach, I think. Yeah, dining coach, that's what that is. The guy on the left there with a silver band around he's the waiter. He's the waiter, the detail to look after us. The guy in the bow tie, he's guest relations manager.
Mr. Connolly, just hold on 1 second. Before we continue describing the document, I'd move for the admission of Plaintiff's Trial Exhibit 162 and that it be published to the jury.
Any objection?
I'd like to approach it.
Okay. You can publish it.
All right, and Mr. Connolly, I apologize for cutting you off, but could you just continue to describe for us what we're looking at in this picture?
Yeah, as I said, the guy in the bow tie, he's guest relations manager. He was detailed to, fix us up anything we needed, to excursions and transports and stuff. Then it's Miss Heard. The guy, that's the chef who looked after he cooked for us. Great chef, by the way. Yeah, he looked after us, and that's Johnny. And I also noticed, if you look at that picture, like I said, on the left-hand side, under his eye, there's a swelling. And you see a swelling just on the left-hand side of his nose and under his left eye.
And what do you interpret that swelling to be?
What do I interpret it as? That's either he's walked into a door or a door's walked into him.
Okay. Can you tell us anything, and we can take this down, I think. Thank you. Mr. Connolly, can you tell us, well, first of all, do you recall what year Mr. Depp and Miss Heard went on their honeymoon in the picture we were just looking at?
That would, is it 2013? 2013?
Okay, and were you, well, you testified that you took the picture, so you were there, I assume?
Absolutely, yes.
What can you tell us about that trip generally, and particularly focused on how Mr. Depp and Miss Heard were interacting with each other?
Started off good. Johnny's cabin was maybe 15 metres down the corridor from mine. There was no cabins in between. That was like storerooms, like blankets and cutlery and stuff. So the cabin was quite not a big massive distance, but it wasn't like the trip started fine, absolutely fine. I think it was 5 days maybe. 2 days, 3 days into the trip, I can see Johnny going down. I can see him coming down. He's just not enjoying this. He's not enjoying this. But I can't. It's not my business to step in and that. I just do my job. But I can see he's not enjoying this. He's not happy. He's not happy.
Did you ever observe any arguments between Mr. Depp and Miss Heard in this time frame?
Just not arguments, but some frostiness. Miss Heard sort of demanded that we have our own dining cart, if you like. So me doing my job, I inquire to the guest relations guy there that you've seen in the photograph, and he quite rightly tells me that there's other
Objection hearsay. Objection hearsay.
All right. Objection to hearsay. All right.
I think we can move on.
Okay, I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
All right, so Mr. Connolly, well, taking a step back for a minute and changing topics slightly, have you ever seen Mr. Depp use any drugs? I don't think that's...
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Yes, I've seen him smoke marijuana. I had my suspicions. I have my suspicions that when he goes off to the bathroom, he probably does a bit of cocaine. I've never seen him do it. As Mr. Depp would never do a line or anything of cocaine in front of me, or Jerry Judge, or Sean Bett, or anybody. Johnny Depp would never compromise my license, my position, and embarrass me like that. It wouldn't happen. So, to answer to your question, I've seen him smoke weed, yes.
You noticed any particular... What changes, if any, have you noticed in his behavior when he's under the influence of marijuana?
To be honest, a bit more relaxed, no sort of uptight. But he's not out of his head. He's perfectly functioning. I mean, you can talk about anything, any conversation you want to talk about. He's neither up nor down with that, you know. He really isn't. He's got a very high tolerance for any substance, Johnny. You know, I would say so. You know, I think Jack Sparrow's more drunk than Johnny Depp, to be honest.
So okay, so that's marijuana. What about alcohol? Same question.
He used to like a wine, and the last I would say the last couple of years that's dropped drastically as well. It's in my last year with Johnny, it's quite actually rare now. It's not rare, but he's not a big boozer now. He's not a boozer now, you know. He's not. And he was never out his head in wine. He was never, you know. I think I've seen drunk in the 20 odd years I've been with Johnny. I think I've seen him drunk twice. But when I say drunk, I mean drunk. Other than that, there's not a lot of difference in Johnny's demeanour or behaviour. Whether he's drinking alcohol or smoking weed, you know.
Okay. And finally, same question for the time periods when you formed the suspicion that he was under the influence of cocaine.
Sorry, what was that? Sorry, could you ask me that again?
What changes in his behavior, if any, did you observe on those occasions when you suspected but didn't know for sure that he was under the influence of cocaine?
Well, again, during the training I had in the HMP prison service, he just seemed a bit more, I don't know, happier, up, not so down, you know. But I wouldn't say he's not leaping around kicking his heels or anything. He pick his guitar up and then he gets right into his guitar, and there's no major changes really. You know, he's fine. You know.
Okay. Now you mentioned you traveled with Mr. Depp and Miss Heard on their honeymoon on the Orient Express. Where else have you traveled with them?
All over the world, Japan, China, Germany. I've been all over the States. Went to an interesting place, Hicksville. That's an interesting story. Yeah, all over the world. Australia. Went to Australia. As far away as that.
And let's take that one at a time. Hicksville, you said?
Yeah, Hicksville. Yeah, it's a funky. I remember Hicksville because it's a real funky place, you know. With Amber and Johnny, they've decided they're going to go to Hicksville for a day and a night, I think it was. So we all off the trot. Amber and her friends all head off, and Amber travelled with Johnny, but her friends all head off. I followed. Johnny wanted to drive his own. He got a beautiful big customised Plymouth. I think it's a 58 or 50. Not an expert, but they had customised. Do you want to drive this car? myself and his assistant at the time, Nathan Holmes, we use another of Johnny's cars and we follow behind. We get to Joshua Tree, Hicksville, stunning as you can imagine. But it's done in a very funky theme. All the caravans have different themes. You know, like mine was an old railway caboose with the old fairground fortune teller head that turns around and stuff, all that kind of stuff. Johnny's and Amber's caravan were maybe about 15 metres from mine, maybe 20 metres, and that was done in like the 1950s style, you know, that kitschy 1950s kind of thing. And the rest of the caravans were all, you know, zombies coming out the ground and it's craziness. Anyway, we go there. There's a lot of booze. All the booze comes up. Party starts. Well, sort of sitting around in the sun, messing around. Party starts. So there's loads of booze and weed, and I think there's mushrooms, some psychedelic mushrooms or whatever. That's going around. But the night gets a bit ruined as I'm watching exactly what's all happening. Everybody's happy, you know, Johnny, Amber, everybody's happy. As I'm watching what's happening, I can see Johnny and Amber getting a bit animated. And they were probably about maybe 25 feet from me. So I approach, and I've been working with Johnny that long. I don't have to really say anything. I only have to look at his face. And Johnny can talk to me through his face. He doesn't need to say a word. So I know what's happening. So, like, and I say in a low voice, guys, let's keep this private. Let's start walking towards the caravan. Let's, take this away from here. As I'm walking ahead, just going ahead, I can hear sort of, bickering behind me. Johnny's trying to talk in his, low tone, keep things a bit quiet. But Amber's getting a bit more loud, a bit more narky, So anyway, I get them to the caravan, I put them inside, and I go to my caravan. That's it. Don't hear anything, don't see anything until the next morning. We sit around the pool, a couple of hours, and we head back to LA.
What
Mr.
prompted you to...
Mr. Modes, before do you have a lot of direct still left in this matter?
Not terribly much more, maybe 10 to 15 minutes.
We're going to take our afternoon break then. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead and take your 15-minute afternoon break, and then we'll come back and continue with the testimony, okay?